Hi, my name is Nikki Seward, and this is a continuation of a look at the controlled flooding of the Sacramento San Joaquin Delta region. In the previous videos, I showed how, in a timeline, there really have not been very many floods of the Delta. In the most recent one, in 2004, it was Upper and Lower Jones Tract, and that was part of the field studies leading up to what is called the in-Delta storage project. I believe probably this year or next year there will be some substantial intentional or controlled flooding of several different Delta islands, and I'm going to show you why. This is March 18th, 2011, and I'm going to race through some documents. You can see you can find them all online. There's also a website called deltarevision.com that gathered a lot of the documents, and they're easier to find there. Anyway, here's the current California website in Delta reports and presentations. Note down here, just in the last couple days, it says new documents available. I want to go through the timeline to see. In Delta storage means that the government plans to allow people who own those islands, I believe those are still in private ownership, to use these islands for water storage when there's extra rainwater. Here is the EIS process. They actually went through this process again in 2010. They started this back in 1995, and here is a map from the summary that shows which islands in the Delta they're talking about. Here is an overview of the Delta, and the four maps they're talking about the four islands are Boudin, Webb, Holland, and Bacon. These islands are slated to be flooded, two of them for supposed or restoration projects, and these two for water storage. They have been preparing this for quite a while. I want to go back to a 1975 map. This is from the state of California, and it's their plan for improvement of the Delta levees, and I want you to notice what this one says. It says controlled flooding right here, controlled flooding. And this is a map of the Delta Islands that, and please note that this dark color, this is the yellow bypass, and they do control the flooding in here to keep it away from the whole Sacramento area, which is up in here. And this is the McCormick-Williamson tract area, and it is a controlled flood area. The Consumies, McComey rivers, it all gathers in here and flows down here, and this is where it will reach these islands that they're planning to flood. Please also note that this is Staten Island, and actually in 2003, this is actually 2004 map, but in 2003 the state paid $35 million to purchase this island for restoration, or at that time they called it detention, water detention use. That's another way of saying a dam in the Delta. So we're talking about a lot of different islands potentially that could be used for this. In 2002, 2003, they meaning the government and the people wanting to create this water storage, they did a lot of computer modeling to see what might happen to be the effects during earthquakes, but also for if they would do this in the Delta. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to look at, this was all part of the Cal-Fed through Delta, this TDF through Delta initiative that has been going on since the year 2000, and they want to use the McComey rivers to send more water down to the pumps. So if you take it down here, this would be the pumps to send it to other parts of the state. So they want to save the water in rainy season, and since it's raining a lot right now and there's high water flow, it could even happen the next couple of days. Who knows? This is the combined state and federal water projects along with local water projects, and this is CalSim. They did a lot of modeling in 2003 to say how the waters might go in different low water and high water rain years, with the focus of how to send the water differently through the Delta to save it for storage and for other purposes. Here is one of the maps. I believe this is also a 2003 one. Yep, 2003. And the focus on this, I'm going to enlarge this one so you can see the focus on this particular study. They did presentations. This gentleman is part of DWR, and this is also a presentation regarding Bacon Island, Webb Tract, which were the ones for surface storage. They call this, or IDS. A lot of times they would use acronyms. You need to know those acronyms to be able to find it. And they look at using surface storage. They want to, I believe it's 250,000 acre-feet a year that they would like to save for other uses if in wet years. So who's behind a lot of this? Well, I believe this group right here. This is MWD. That stands for Metropolitan Water District. In 2004, they have this presentation saying, this is their call to action. Let's go for it. Do we have to do these extra studies to validate this in Delta storage? Because there was a lot of criticism of the modeling. So they make sure, meaning again DWR, the government, and other agencies, make sure the monitoring stations are in place. Actually, some of them get changed a little. They want to monitor the salt, particle tracking, things like that, the effect. So then what happens? They need to do a test run, I believe, and that's where we hear about the Jones Tract incident. This is the Bureau of Reclamation, the Delta cross-channel operations. You'll see this is Water Board website where I get this. DOI stands for Department of Interior. And we will note that this document says that the Delta cross-channel gates, which had been opened, are closed. It says Jones Tract levee failure. Okay. It says June 1st, 2004, Jones Tract levee failure. And so they closed the Delta cross-channel gates. And however, the reports that everything else reports saying June 3rd, 2004, and there's actually a presentation on just focusing on the timeline leading up to Jones Tract. But Jones Tract is important because it's used as the field studies for the in-Delta water storage actions that we see unfolding very soon. And so I'm going to go on. There's they call this, instead of calling it conveyance at this point in time, they call it the Delta Improvements Program, and it means taking water from the Sacramento River, floating it down to this area of the Delta, perhaps putting storage in some of these islands, with the goal of getting it to these pumps to take to other areas of California. If you want to go back and look at what is the preferred program alternative for CalFed, that is a central canal, and that is what CalFed has been moving forward with. The conveyance section of CalFed is still moving forward. The restoration section, the Bay Delta Conservation Plan as they call it, the conservation portion is kind of stalling, but the conveyance section, including Enterprise, the fish screens, the reoperation of the Delta Cross Channel gates, and modification of some of these levees, that all has moved forward. The levee system integrity program that has been happening. So let's look again. Here is a lot of the levee integrity work that has been done, and if you went to this website, atlasresources.ca.gov, you would find each one of these dots represents levee work, and you will find that along the south and north fork of the Mokelumne, a huge amount of levee work, basically levee rebuild, has been done. You can click and find details of this. This is around Staten Island. Anyway, you can also find really detailed plans, and it shows this focus on the south fork of the Mokelumne and in this area, and they take the water also from up by the Hood area. Here's another plans. I believe there still is more work. They want to do some dredging so that when the Delta Cross Channel gates are open, it takes more water. So the Delta Cross Channel gates could take 4,500 cubic feet per second, and the Hood / reoperation of Freeport or use a Freeport extra capacity would take another 4,000 cubic feet per second. Their goal is 8,500 cubic feet per second of Sacramento River water taken to flow down to the pumps. So we're back to 2010. This is their executive summary for the Delta Wetlands Project. That's what this part of it is called now. And you can see that these are the islands that you will be hearing in the news will be flooded. I hope the news media is responsible and doesn't make it look like an accident, because it won't be an accident. Thank you for listening.